Buenos días, buenos días, buenos días a ti.
Parents have specific dreams and hopes and plans for their children, and they want an education that matches what those hopes and dreams and expectations are.
Each child is unique and individual, and you've got to look at the full range of services. So that means you've got to look at what's the appropriate classroom setting, and then you look at what we call related services. And those related services can be anything the child needs, ranging from speech and language services through and including social work services, if that's what's necessary in order to get there, with a variety of services in between, including occupational therapy, physical therapy, recreational therapy. Saying all of that, the reality is it has to be a program that provides benefit for the child.
It's so important that families are well informed about the huge array of choices that there are for their children. We have children with autism who attend general education classroom full-time. We also have students who attend special day programs part of the day for core areas of weakness where they need some intensive instruction, but spend the rest of their day with typical peers.
4, 5, 6, 7. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then stop. Now don't get silly and creative because it's going to get hard. 1, 2, 3, 4.
In addition to that, we still have a small number of special ed centers where there are children with more significant disabilities.
Let's press the Z. Say zipper. Zipper, good job. What's this? Elephant.
Elephant, hello.
Yeah. Lion. Can you point to the lion for me? Good job, Zaire.
So when I think of those opportunities for children with autism, I want you to think about just about anything, sort of like an a la carte menu.
At Grandview McBride, we have a very special program that's happening there this year. We are working to integrate two groups of kids from a special education center and kids from a general ed campus, a typical school.
Triangle, circle, triangle. Circle, triangle. What's next?
It teaches them about each other, and it really teaches them empathy, and they start to understand one another.
Fly shoe. He lapped up the milk in poor Kitty's bowl. He nibbled on noodles in the casserole. Shoe, fly, shoe, fly, shoe. That's good, but a little bit louder. Shoe, fly, shoe, fly, shoe. You got it, exactly right.
One of the things that we celebrate is multiculturalism. And in that, we make sure that our kids learn about diversity. The fact that we're not all of the same makeup and have the same capacities. Having a special ed program be a part of our instructional program and the makeup of our school goes a long way in teaching these values.
Whenever something is new, it's very difficult to know if it's going to be right for your child. When we meet that apprehension from parents, we assure them that we didn't just come up with this and are trying it at their school. The research is conclusive that when students are included, they learn better.
In the real world, we are going to be having interactions with different people. And my philosophy is we need to get them used to that. We need to start as young as possible, even once they start getting diagnosed. Because you'd be surprised, they always think, they need structure, they have to be in a systematic way, but sometimes change is good for them.
If we want kids to gain independent skills and to be able to interact in society, they have to be part of what is somewhat typical of society.
our philosophy is developing citizens that will be independent.
We may not always have every tool that we that we could use, but we don't let that hinder us. We're not just here to teach children how to read, write, and comprehend. We're also here to hopefully instill some values in our children. And I think that if you have the right people and if you embrace diversity and the importance of that, I think you'll go a long way.
Austin, you're so smart. What's this? Peas. What's this? What's that? He said P. And what's the sound?
For my class, with regards to how we teach the program, it depends on their individual education plan, which is the IEP. And each year we come up with the goals of what we think that they need to accomplish in order to get them to the next level.
This is an annual IEP for Jorge.
This is un IEP anual, una junta anual para Jorge.
The goal of this IEP is to establish learning objectives
Para estabilizar los objetivos de aprendizaje.
for the student for this year as well as next year.
It's important for us to think about the goals that are developed in the IEP. It maps out accommodations that the student needs, any modifications, the supports and services that the student is eligible for.
Part of the issue has to do with using the proper tense. He starts off in present tense, then goes to the past tense, then goes to future tense,
Dice que lo que pasa
and then
es
he's
que
all over the place.
Un ejemplo es de que él comienza en el presente y luego se pasa al pasado y luego se pasa al futuro.
Do you enjoy writing? Or is this...
¿Te gusta escribir?
No mucho. Me cuesta.
And I would just like to point out that a strength here is that he is able to focus on a topic and write a clear paragraph.
We keep the student at the center of both the development of the IEP as well as the implementation of the IEP. And what you see among all of the staff, and certainly the families, is this let go of all the educational jargon, let go of anything that doesn't make sense, and really think about how can I say this in a way that's meaningful.
Tell me about your transition from Miguel Contreras to here. Was it easy? Was it hard? And how did you improve?
When I came here, the cross country, Coach Marino helped me, guide me to improve a little more on my skills.
What was it before?
Oh, when I was at MC?
Uh-huh.
The fastest I ever could was 6:54, and I could tell you the Belmont girls were a lot faster than that. I was the last one when I came.
When we think about how do you create the perfect plan for a child, you really need to see that child in several different environments. Part of the assessment process includes really getting to know the family and asking the family the questions about their child so that you've got the parent's perspective.
He doesn't like to go even to the groceries, so go out.
Well, maybe that's something Mom can work on with him.
Dice que es algo que a lo mejor usted puede trabajar con él.
Sí, es lo que estoy haciendo últimamente. Lo motivo porque, por ejemplo, si él me dice, mamá, necesito para mi desayuno alguna fruta, pues yo le digo, ok, no lo tengo, vamos a la marqueta, ¿me acompañas? Él tiene que acompañarme.
Yeah.
Pero antes no lo hacía, no lo hacía salir de la casa.
When I see families who have been completely prepared, they have seen the reports ahead of time, they have reviewed those reports with one another, they come in with questions because they have not just had the material presented, they've processed it.
Any questions about the content goals?
No, pues me parece muy concreto y muy, pues, las metas me parecen muy interesantes, muy positivas para que él pueda mejorar, ¿verdad?, en su desarrollo académico.
Parent participation is of prime importance in an IEP meeting. Parents should participate in the meeting, and they should ask that it be scheduled at a time and location that they can make. Secondly, parents have a right to have their concerns known. Third, parents have a right to be involved in the discussion of what are called goals and objectives for their child. Fourth, parents have the right to participate in the decision making with regard to the placement. For a family who is entering the system for the first time and they're going to go do their first IEP, it can be a scary process. There is a federal and state law in every state that will set out generally the process. It's a lot of information for a family to learn for the first time, and often parents will decide at that point that they'd like to have someone accompany them. Generally, an advocate will go over all of the records that exist with regard to the child, have meaningful communication with the parent about the child's strengths, needs, what's available in terms of program, what they're looking for, and then go into the IEP meeting and make sure the parent's rights are protected, and will assert the needs of the student at that IEP. And there are, of course, a variety of advocates out there. People who generally have a background in psychology, or they were teachers themselves. They're lay advocates. And then there are, of course, lawyers. They carry malpractice insurance, which sometimes the lay advocates do not. There are public interest law firms around. They can provide parent training sessions for parents, plus provide representation.
If we're all in agreement that this is the plan that we'll use for next year, then I'd like to get signatures
Entonces me gustaría que firmara, por favor.
from the IEP team, just to confirm that we're all in agreement.
It's so important for families to feel that they've been heard, and for us to have been able to really give back to them what that all looks like nested in an educational system.
Well, thank you so much for participating, and thank you for being here.
So of course we need that level of dedication on the part of both the IEP team as well as the school team to honor what we've learned about that child and to put it in action.
They are able in the educational system to really make a difference. I'm not telling you that it cures anybody, but what it does do is provide an increased level of abilities and skills for a child that enables them when they're an adult to be much less dependent. It improves the quality of everyone's lives.